All right, so I think for the past few weeks, right? I think for the past few weeks, hey yo, what the fuck is this? I think this is worth a lotto. Some shit. Maybe it pumps. I mean, it's pretty fresh sticker in the market. The hell is this? I'll take a lotto on this. Let's see how far it pumps. Look at that. Shit, look at that. Easy. $2 move right there. You see, these are the type of things that I cannot alert to you guys on the using the alert channel, right? But look, over here, easy pump, right? Right from like 6 plus all the way to $9 in just the same minute itself. Obviously, you have to go smaller size because again, it's um it's the spread's not the greatest, right? But low daily average volume, nothing else is really running in current markets. Positive data. I mean, it's worth slapping some, just see what's up. Yeah, it could die. It could die or it could go higher because there's nothing else that's running. But on the initial pump, right? On the initial pump when the news first dropped, that is the best entries. Over here, it becomes no man's land, right? Which is see for me, if I were to alert this for you guys on through the alert channel, it's impossible for me to kind of get you guys in at the same price as I am because the spread sucks, right? So that's why again it has to be a lotto because we're not focusing on like the 20 cents move, right? You can see easily over here this thing just went from like two, three, $4 straight to $9, right? We don't see 9.35, maybe $9. Okay. But over here, it becomes tricky, right? It becomes, and this is where I can start to step in to give you guys proper setups, but it becomes trickier, you know? But continue riding this. One rule of thumb for me is whenever a ticker like this drops news, if it doesn't lose, VWAP, right? At least, for those of you guys who got in on the lottos over here, I think you can definitely write some for more. Especially so, like I said, there is not much happening in this pre-market. Okay. Sorry, after hours, right? This thing may catch on some traction and stuff. But if we lose VWAP, this thing can drop really quickly. So I don't expect any if you guys got in with me, I don't expect any of you guys over here to still be holding full size. Right? This is what we call a news pop setup, right? And again, you can see how quick it is. It's impossible for me to alert this. But on voice, if I identify whatever is, what the daily average is, right, and the volume and stuff, it's very easy for you guys to identify. Okay, you know what? This has a higher chance of popping on the PR. Whether it sustains is another thing, but the initial criteria, low daily average volume, right, like what I said, um, catalyst, low float, 2 million float. This is the trifecta criteria for what? For potential explosive moves. It could be off the PR. It could be off. Oh, there's some heavy selling happening for ISHL. What's going on? Regardless, we should still be green. Okay. I need to see this kind of hold this 200 email here 110. If not, I'll close up the red my position. Many people still try to push the narrative that this thing is gonna go crazy, but I did tell you guys already. There's a high chance this thing could be a sell the news event. Right. So please, all right. I hope you guys did not chase this. This was the only play I gave you guys straight on market open. All right, but please do not think that every single play is gonna go like that. I think that was a form. Someone filed a form or some shit. Look at that. That's crazy. You see, people. Look, you see, I'm not trying to. Again, I'm not trying to. This is for learning purposes, right? This is for learning purposes. Okay. Now look. Whenever a ticker runs up a lot, and you have to understand, right? This action over here is not normal. Or rather, it's not normal, but it's very well sustained. But come on, at the end of the day, this is still a bullshit company. Okay, you can tell me that this thing has dropped news and whatnot. It's not going to change a single thing. All right, I would say that this is again. I did say there was a possibility of it selling the event. Right, for me, I never ever have like strong bias towards a certain play. If I'm in, obviously I want it to go up. right? But we also have to come down to reality and not trade using your heart or whatever, you know? You gotta always have your risk management right there, right? If we look at what this guy's saying, all right, we look at what this guy's saying, right? No, I always tell you guys, right? If you guys were to be adding something that is already way up, okay? Like for us, right? Our re-entries over here happened today. Our re-entries over here happened today at 130s down to 110s, right? And then we got a move to 172. That is pretty good, right? That's pretty good. You can't say that's not good. That's insane, especially for today's market. I think that's pretty good. But as I always say, if we are adding something, right? If we're adding something when it's already up so much, okay? Especially if you look at this on the overall movement, right? You cannot tell me that you want to set your stop loss at fucking 30 cents. It's crazy. You gotta look at something that has higher a higher time frame over here. So clearly, right, you can see I did tell you guys that my current trend line is the 200 EMA, which we have clearly busted through down already. Unless you tell me that this candle in the next 8 minutes closes above $1, 110, then the structure is still intact, right? But this is a 20-minute candle. If the candle over here closes above 110, then the structure is still intact. But you see, for me, how can I take the risk, right, of sitting inside this at 1.2, 1.1s, 1.2s? I took my profits on the way up. I see it drop like that. I can't stay in thinking that this is going to recover, because what if it doesn't? It dropped all the way to 50 cents, right? It dropped all the way to 50 cents. That is insane, right? So I need to manage my risk like that. Okay, I need to manage my risk like that. I think they did some form of filing. I don't think there was any sort of news over here, but this is pretty insane price action over here. Yeah, pretty insane price action over here. Okay, yeah. But yeah, this is the thing, right? You always have to make sure that your stop loss is aligned together with whatever is part of that trend line. All right, no such thing. Okay, we gotta keep it tight. That's just how it is. If you tell me that this is going to be a multi-day play, just hold on to this, then my answer to you is, why don't you put all your money inside? Why don't you sell everything and put all your money inside if you are so sure that this is going to go exactly the way you think it's going to go? Because for me, this is still a shit company, right? I would not sleep peacefully thinking that I have all my money inside on this, right? After knowing this thing has made 1,000% move in a couple of weeks. You understand? Right? That's not healthy. Okay? That's not healthy at all. All right? So always remember, manage your risk. You're always one play away. Um uh and you see, look at this. Now he's saying stuff like that. It's not like you can't trust any run. People are saying this like you can't trust anyone, as though IXL did not just make 1,000% move in weeks. How can you say that this did not? How can you say that this made a bad move? This thing is insane, right? It's from 20 cents to 170. You got to give it credit for where credit's due, right? Just because it down from 170 down to this, and then you'd be like, fuck, you can't trust the run. That's just ridiculous, you know? Like, is this thing 1,000% not enough for you? That's crazy. All right. And at the end of the day, remember, all these are small caps. Okay. There's a reason why, all right, there is a reason why they are at 8 cents. If the company is good, this is not going to happen. There's a reason why all these over here drop all the way down like that. There is a reason. All right. It doesn't mean that the company is good. If the company is good, will it actually happen like that? It will not. Okay. There is a reason for it. All right. Whatever is moving over here, euphoria, pump, all this kind of stuff. And these are general basic things that we see on a day-to-day basis, right? But we also have to make sure to keep our stop loss tight. For those of you guys who are in on this on the 20, 30 cents I gave last week, this is still pretty risk-free for you. You can kind of sit on this, right? I mean, this dump, you don't really have to worry too much about it because, you're at 30 cents. But if you took re-entry with me today, how can we sit through all this? We can't. So please always respect. No matter, I don't care what happens after, right? Because this thing did go to 49 cents. If it doesn't recover, I do not want to be sitting inside this, holding this at 120. All right, I have to respect the plan. And always make sure that once you're green on the trade, you keep it that way. Okay. All right. So now back to the review today. So today is, I would say, one of the trickier ones for sure, right? And today is one of the trickier tickers to play around. I would say the trickier market. It's not because of I'll tell you, we'll start off with this first, right? This OSRH, to be honest, okay, I was in over here at I was in over here, all right, and I was typing the alert out, and this thing just pumped. Okay, and my rule of thumb is always this, right? 7:39 and send the alert out, which is around this candle. So, but I was in over here, I was typing the stuff up for you guys. So why did I add this? Now, first off, OSRH is a potential runner. It used to run a lot, right, before, and price it was halted, I think 6-7 times, all the way from $2 to $80. So this is a known runner over here. And we haven't really seen it started running. This is one of the only tickers with catalyst at that point of time. So I think it was worth a shot. So price went down under VWAP, consolidated over here, right? You can see that there's a lot of massive rejection of VWAP on this. And then when we have very nice candle reclaim that VWAP level, right? I waited for these candles to show strength. I added over here. Okay, but I was typing the alert out, and then when I send the alert out, you guys pumped this up. I did not sell anything over here, right? I waited for a pullback just to see whether we can recover because there's nothing else. I took a loss. All right, I took a loss over here. Okay, so but you know, it aligns with whatever is happening with the market. It's slow, right? I did have my reasons for adding it. It's a low floater. It has a catalyst. It reclaimed VWAP. You know, it was a nice little push, but nothing sustainable. Right? It was a great scalp, but nothing sustainable. But I do not sell in the candle alert, so I took a loss on this. It wasn't anything big, right? If 123 stop loss at 115, it wasn't anything big, so you know it is what it is. And then after that, all right, LiDAR, right? I didn't want to chase this, but this is one of the only movers that was running today, and you know I kind of have to. You know, it's okay. So let me just tell you guys this again, right? Now, when we add something, when like same thing as what we're doing for IXHL, this ticker over here, 116, going all the way up to 297. Now we can consider this being up around 100+% already, right? And when you buy something when it's up 100+%, right? When you buy something that's up 100+%, what do you expect this to do? You know, we gotta wait for this to pull back and whatnot, but you know, same thing. We have to keep our stop loss tight. It's impossible for us to kind of hold on to this thinking that, or for us to have our stop loss at 177. Because look, if the price goes from here down to 177, do you think it has structure or any sort of strength to recover for the rest of the day? Right? So we want price to pull back, right? But we don't want a round trip type of move. We want the pullback to be, you know, at least still uptrending. You know what I mean? Right? So giving you guys alerts on this when something is already up 200% on the day, which is on normal market basis very amazing, we have to keep it tight. That is just how it is, right? So I need you guys to understand that, okay? Because next time or sometimes when I alert these kind of plays when it's up 200%, it's not because you see, like I'm chasing. Right? I mean, yeah, sure, I'm chasing, but for good reasons, right? It's for good reasons. It's not like I'm chasing for fun, right? There is a reason for it. But I want to play a little bit more safe today, because I felt that pre-market was a little bit slow, and it was a little bit slow. And this thing took off without me. Right, so it is what it is. It's cool. I did add over here at 250s, sorry, 350s, but it was way too quick to alert, so I didn't alert it to you guys. All right. But yeah, it's you know, it was way too quick. I was waiting for dips. Now this is where things start to take a turn. All right. So obviously this was going to be the main watch for today because it wasn't them using NVIDIA products. It was NVIDIA using their products. Right. But you see the same thing as I said again. Just because this play did not make any moves today doesn't mean that it's a bad play. No. Right. Because you can't. This thing was 117 yesterday. It made a move to 480 today. Right. The move is done. You know, it doesn't mean that because it doesn't make a move for market open, this is trash. No, it has already made a very good move. A 335% move over here. You can't tell me that this is bad, right? You cannot tell me this is bad. You can't. It's impossible. It's crazy if you tell me this is bad. It's a crazy move. But one thing for sure is that this is very extended. So I needed to wait. But unfortunately, we just couldn't have any sort of momentum pressure, right? Nothing over here. This was a weak halt. All right, so that's why I told you guys immediately not to add it. I think if this was a stronghold, we probably might have a chance, but this is not a low floater. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky, right? As I told you guys straight on market open. All right, it's a little riskier because it's a heavy floater. It does take a lot of momentum to keep up that 300% move, right? And 300% move might be something that is we don't really see that often anymore, right? I think last week was very common. Like I said, that period of time was honestly pretty crazy. But when things comes back to normal, we have to adapt. I keep prepping you guys. I keep telling you guys, hey, you know what? I know the past few weeks has been insane, okay, but please remember and please understand that the market will slow down. Today, I think it's probably one of the slowest days we've had for the past few weeks, right? I mean, you even if you count that, LiDAR still make a 300% move. But overall, right? Overall, today was probably one of the slowest days we've had for the past few weeks, right? Even if you compare for the past few days this week. But you see what I'm trying to get over here for you guys? Yeah, I don't want you guys to get normalized to whatever happened the past few weeks because this movement over here is pretty normal. Nothing crazy over here. Right? If the market is actually like that, it should not stop you from not being profitable. Unless of course, you just keep taking like bad trades or you keep forcing trades. Then of course, right, when you force trades on the slow market, your play is more than likely not going to work out because hey, things are slow. Right? So this is just how things are going to be, right? Maybe for the next few weeks or the next few days. We don't know. But all I can guarantee you guys is that the market will heat up again. But for them to heat up again, it needs to cool down. Maybe this meme plays injecting into the market is a way to kind of cool the market down, but it's still them cooling down, right? It's like when the market was really high, then Trump introduced the tariffs, the market went down, it reset a little bit, but look at where it's at right now, right? It's still at new highs. In stopping this train over here, right? The market pulled back off the tariffs over here. You see that? This was just a couple of months ago. And look at where it's at right now. So it's kind of like the same concept with how the small cap market volume rotation is going to be like, right? We've had a couple of great weeks. You can't say no to that. I think the past few weeks, literally every single day, at least 100% runner. This week was a little bit slow, but we still got some nice run. Only today was really slow as compared to the past few weeks. Right? It wasn't slow per se if you did catch LiDAR in pre-market, sure. But for those who didn't, there wasn't really much opportunities for you guys on market open. But it should not stop you from not being profitable if you focus on the base hits. Okay, right? So yeah, that's I would say you gotta get used to it. All right. Do not normalize it. This type of market condition is the best for you guys to train your discipline. Okay, you gotta stop forcing trades. That is what kills a lot of people. All right, a lot of it. Okay, so LiDAR, first off, right? Now what I see over here was the second entry over here was this, or the first entry I took was 420s. But this is at 948. Now the reason why I took this was because first off, price went down, forming double bottom. I see volume coming in, and then we have nice little candle over here. Very strong candle on this, right? Reclaiming the EMAs and stuff. And also plus, right? This was also a very nice I would say you get a little bit of a price separation on the 1 minute chart. Now, we do have a key level over here that I kind of drew, 435, right, for LiDAR on the weekly time frame. So that was resistance, right? And seeing how this figure was trading today, there's a high chance that this thing might just bust through the resistance and go super crazy. Now look at this, right? You see this candle over here? You see this weekly candle over here? You guys see this? Right? You see this? It's crazy rejection happening across the board on this, right? No? Right? It's insane. Right? So this was basically where the candle was rejecting today a little bit, right? So I thought we broke out. I thought we were gonna go. So I waited for this pullback to 420. So I scooped some, right? But then when it started dropping down like that, I didn't like how the rejection was like. This might be the weekly expansion level, as you guys can see. But if I were to incorporate this in the daily level, right? If I move it a little bit up, I mean, we're still rejecting really heavy levels. I don't want to count this two candles over here because these are the first two candles of market open, right? So anything could have happened on this, But if you look at the overall picture, this is still a very strong resistance level. Okay, so instead, well, what do I always say? When a play doesn't work out for me, I would never ever stick around and be like, hey, you know what? Let me just hold on and see what's up. Right? I want to cut it quick because All right. I mean, you guys probably could have close it at break even if you waited, but I cut it quick because again, I was afraid of this dumping. Because this day at the end of the day is still, I mean, it's already up 200%. The amount of downside this thing is gonna have is going to be crazy, right? The amount of downside this thing is gonna have is gonna be crazy. All right. So so yeah, right here, this thing goes all the way down. Okay, and then for me, I was done with it because it felt heavy. I know it felt heavy. Why? Why did it feel heavy? Because midday we had an injection of um the meme place, right? Suddenly the meme place took over. We had open, we have Krispy Kreme, we have you know, we have open over here, right? We have Krispy Kreme over here as well. Right, sorry, not Krispy Kreme, but we have D-Nut over here as well, right? You see that it was going strength. KSS at the end during the morning session was also showing strength, as you guys can see, right? So there was a midday theme injection, right, where volume was flowing into the meme place. And you guys have heard me say this many times yesterday. When meme plays run, they take up a lot of volume from the market, they destroy the normal setups for the market. LiDAR was a normal setup, right? So there wasn't much action going on here. So I switched. We got to switch out. We got to adapt, right? Switch to open 270, right? And then we hit 291. I trimmed some profits. Stop loss raised to under 260 because that is where my 200 EMA trend line was at, right? This is where the price was bouncing off from. When we lost this, I got out because the structure has broken down. I want to see something smooth. I don't want chopped like this, okay? Especially when I'm playing the momentum the way up, I have to secure it. And plus, this is not a low floater, right? It's not a low floater. People always forget this, but this is a 600 million float. It's very heavy. You can't expect this to make another 500% move over here when it recently just did. Think about the amount of back holders this thing has been have recently, right? A lot. Okay, so it's heavy. It's not going to be easy to float on this, right? But because for me, I was risking 20 cents per share, at least 290 for me. That's where I can take a one-to-one trade over here, right? For some profits. Okay, but I want to write the rest more because of the squeeze potential, but it lost my structure, so it is what it is. Okay, not much to control about, right? So after that, AIRE, this was done together live. So this when this thing started breaking down, when we started to see the meme play started to get strength away, why didn't LIDR recover? Because it was not at the structure to do it anymore. If let's say the meme plays died off, right? There was no meme runners at the start of the market open, while LDI continued to stay over here, there might probably be a chance for this to recover. Because this was structurally, right, ready for a reversal. Okay, especially how it was holding on VWAP over here. But then this thing broke down and then the meme play started running. So when the meme play started to die off, this was in no position to receive that volume rotation. So what was the only runner that we have at that point of time? Only mover, something that was flowing. To me, it was ARRE, right? And we did this together on Voice, right? We had a downtrend breakout, very nice trend on this, and we got new highs. But is it much? 51 cent to 57, it's not much, right? It's only a 6 cent move, But can you really blame this? Right? Because it's not like there's no catalyst over here. There's no catalyst on this. There isn't a reason for this to continue running like that. And the volume is very spread out across the market. One moment you have um one moment you have uh the LiDAR running because of the Nvidia news. Um the next thing you have the meme plays running again and suddenly the meme plays dies off, right? And then you have this, right? So it wasn't much. And when this thing was running, okay, LHAI started to ignite the IPO sector, right? Where that's why you suddenly had tickers like Cree doing this. But at the end of the day, this is a Chinese market, right? And I told you guys to look for quick scalps over here. I said this, I even warned you guys. For those of you guys over here who are new, okay, for those of you guys who are new, okay, please avoid or go small or paper trade to practice. This is quick, right? At 12:42, I told you guys about this. This thing opened at over here. Price went all the way down to 711 or 730s. And we went up to 8 plus. I did not wait for the halt to take profits, by the way. The moment I see this thing hit 820s, I was already scaling most of it. Because I understand that And you guys have to also understand that when this is a Chinese ticker, it's an IPO. When it halts up like that without any sort of news, right? It's clearly a pump. Okay, and I know who's behind the pump over here. Maybe it could go higher. I do wish it go higher. But then you see when it open up and hold down like that, at least if you only like have like 20%, 15% left, you're still okay. You're still fine. You'll be okay. You know what I mean? You'll actually be okay. Right? So these kind of plays, very, very quick. It really is very quick. If you're not using active trader, impossible for you to catch. Right? Which is why I had this note over here for you guys. Might be a quick one. If you're new to trading, please support. If you choose to ignore that, man, there's not much I can help you. Right? But for those of you guys who use active trader, this right was a gold mine in literal seconds. Right? It went from 750, 740s all the way to 820s in seconds. That's a 67 cents move. If you add 1,000 shares, or if you even add like 500 shares, that is $500 plus of profits in seconds. Right? In seconds, that's $500 plus of profits. But this is very quick. Right? This is very quick. Okay, but yeah, after that, that was it. There was nothing else. I'm not sure. Maybe I missed out on something, right? But I don't think so. I mean, I saw PSTV having potential, and it did, right? We made new highs. But you see, it's the same thing as AIRE. Did this thing has a catalyst? No, it didn't have a catalyst, right? So it didn't have a catalyst. AIRE made a 6 cents move first, okay, and then before it done. Same thing over here. We were in at what price were I in at 64s, right? I was in the 64s over here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I was in the 64s, right? Stop loss was under 56 at the point of time, but because the move was made, right? I raised my stop loss to under 63.5, right? Just to make sure they keep the trade green. Because I understand today is ass. It's shit. We gotta adapt. Maybe last week I would have helped for like 400% movers. Today, if you do that, you're gonna end up taking L's all the way. Right? Even for open, did I hold? No, I was ready to take profits. Because I understand, you guys can see as well, the market is slow today. And not only just today, you look at after hours right now, is there anything moving? Other than the fact that we took the NXTC Lotto trade over there, is there anything moving today? Is there anything moving right now? No. It has been like that for the past few days, right? And after hours has been truly lacking. You know, not as crazy like before, because things are slowing down and we have to adapt. If not, you'll just continue losing money. Okay? Right? Look, we did hit 70 cents. It's not much. But if you guys want to trade, how much do you want to get? You know what I mean? The market's slow. It doesn't care about what you want. I wish it could go higher. And honestly, if we didn't lose trend, I would stay in, but we lost 63 cents. I have to get out. Right? It was done. You know, there was no continuation anymore. Alright, there was just literally no continuation anymore. Okay? So, you know, I would say that for this, right? It's just a slow day, but I want you guys to understand that days like this happen, right? Initially, I was ready for the day as well, but managed to come back right with open and IXHL, and IXHL really brought me back on top, right? And but I wasn't anything big, you know. Right? It wasn't anything big. Okay, all right. So I think that's pretty much it. There's not much to talk about today other than slow. And that's where it's very important for you guys to understand I should not take trades. I should not force trades. All right? I should not take trades. I should not force trades. Because even if I did, what can we get? What did we get? Nothing. You know, what else was worth trading today? I mean, I don't see anything. I do not see anything. Octo's nice. Wow, Octo's nice. But, you know, overall, I do not see anything. Okay, all right. So let's see what happens tomorrow. I'm hoping things change. All right, every single day I come to the market, every single day when I come to the market, I always hope to get fresh runners. Maybe just one, right? LiDAR type of PR. and we slap it and go, then it would have been perfect and profitable for us, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow, right? It's a Friday. Maybe things are gonna be even slower than today, but we still try. All right, we still have to try. Just gotta probably keep things a little bit tighter. Okay? All right, so that's pretty much all I have for now. Let's answer some questions. Let me pause for a bit first. Got 6x lotto and boom. Yeah, no, look, right? See, that was a quick one for NXTC, right? For those of you guys who got in, I mean, I could really only do this on voice with you guys. I mean, look, you guys saw, right? How the fuck am I supposed to alert this out to you all? I could do this on voice with you guys. It was easy. It was no brainer. 6xx, boom, $3 move in literal seconds. Sometimes we wait $3 for like the whole day. This is in literal seconds. This is one of the benefits for Newspot, but you can't really sizing for it because the spread sucks and it's a gamble whether to know whether this is going to go. Obviously, like I said, I always say it's a gamble, but there are certain factors to improve your chances of picking the right stock to slap. Right, like this low daily average volume catalyst, this low float trifecta, right? You could slap a lot on this. If NX, no, this is way gone. No, no, I'll tell you, the people on X are ridiculous, right? Like when a play doesn't work out, we talk about LiDAR this morning. So I was giving levels of saying that hey, the next big level for us to go is that if this thing breaks 520. And people added this with no stop loss, thinking that it's actually gonna go to 520. I'm like, what the fuck you on, bro? You crazy. Right? There are a lot of people on X that don't know what they're doing, right? They don't want to pay for advice, but they're okay losing $20,000, which is I mean that's just crazy to me. That is just crazy to me. Yeah, no, I've seen it happen before. By the way, I've seen it happen before, right? I think that was one ticker that was $1. It was an offering drop to like 80 cents to 40 cents, I think. And then from 40 cents, it went to $10 in after hours. But that was back in 2020, 2021. It went from $1 to 40 cents to $10 on the same day in after hours. Could LDR possibly be a multi-day run? Maybe. We have to see how this thing sets up. But you see, the thing is, tomorrow is a Friday, right? If this thing doesn't recover, probably not. How do you know if it's a weak haul or strong haul? You gotta see the bits, right? But if it opens up, you don't see it gap up and stuff, then you probably know that this is a weak haul already. All right. Obviously, sometimes weak hauls can still continue going, right? But if it starts showing a lot of weakness and structure breakdown, especially look at this, right? Long upper wicks, right? No volume pushing through, then this is a weak haul. Yeah. It wasn't a slow day if you call it LiDAR, you're correct. But generally speaking, if you didn't catch that, it was a slow day. I don't attribute one play to it being a hot day, you know what I mean? Right? Just because one play moved doesn't mean that it's a hot day, right? I need to at least see variety. No, there needs to be at least like 3 to 4 runners, right? Then that usually counts for okay, generally the market's hot. But if it's just only one play and it happens to be pre-market and nothing happens for market open, I don't think you can say this is a hot day. Right, clearly is generally speaking. Right, it was a hot move from LiDAR. I mean, for sure, 300%. That's crazy. Well, Octo is a moon video pump. And the same both. No fucking way. Oh, 1 hour is the time frame. 4 hour is the time frame. Right, that's all. It's just a time period for the candle. Right. So you can see this is a 4 hour. Right. So that means that one candle represents 4 hours of price action. Right. If we look at 1 minute chart, then one candle represents 1 minute of price action. No, I'll tell you, LHAI and Cree are lottos. They are lotto. This is not okay. This was a quick trade for me. Like I said, it was quick, but this is a lotto trade. This is a lotto trade. You can't tell me that you know this is gonna do this. It's an IPO, right? IPOs are always lottos. So I don't count this as a proper setup. It's not, right? It's not a proper setup. It's a lotto. If you follow the IPO trick that I do, right? I mean, this would have been a very nice win, but because my IPO trick says this, right? When the candle halts up, you don't add it. You add on the next candle. But the candle opens up at 880, right? If you have your stops underneath 530, that's a $3 risk. You have to go lotto size even more. But it was still a very nice move at the end of the day, right? But I would say that this is not a proper setup. It's not. There's no structure. You don't have any levels. This thing first hit the market, right? You don't know where your resistance is at. You don't know where your support is at. It's not a proper structure, right? I'm talking more about proper structure trades. Tickers with good volume, catalysts, and stuff like that. There isn't any like this today. There were a lot of sympathy pump and dumps, right? Nothing sustainable. That's what I mean. Generally, that's how I gauge whether the market's good, healthy, right? Is by having proper setups. But today there wasn't any. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope not, because fuck the IPO plays. I fucking hate those. I fucking hate those stuff. Okay. All right. So guys, look, after hours right now, still very slow, except for Octo and then that NXTC. But except for but you say this is a moon market pump. If it's a moon market pump, then nah, I'm gonna avoid this shit. I'm gonna avoid this shit. If it becomes sustainable tomorrow, then probably, but I'm gonna avoid it. Okay. So there's nothing else I really like at the point of time. Any other further questions?